Oatmeal turns harmful for seniors. When mixed with these 5 common foods. My dear friend, let me speak to you as someone who has seen the years stretch long and wide. By the time you reach a certain age, the mornings are no longer about rushing. They are about slowing down, listening to the body, and savoring the quiet. And often, that quiet begins with a bowl of oatmeal. For decades now, oatmeal has carried the reputation of being the wise person's breakfast. Gentle on the stomach, rich in fiber, kind to the heart. It is the food doctors recommend and families trust. There is something about oats that feels almost ancient, as if they were made to nourish the elderly and comfort the weary. But here is the truth most people don't talk about. Oatmeal, as good as it is, can quietly turn against you when it is dressed with the wrong companions. You see, our bodies at 70, 80, or 90 do not work the way they did at 20 or 30. Digestion slows down, metabolism changes, and the margin for error grows smaller. What once passed through your body without consequence now lingers, builds, and burdens. A young person might handle the sugar or syrup they stir into their oats with little trouble, but for us, that same sweetness can spike the blood, strain the heart, and leave us more tired than nourished. And yet the world rarely tells us this. Health magazines keep praising oatmeal as if it were untouchable, but they do not whisper about the traps that hide in the toppings and add-ins. A spoonful of this, a splash of that, and suddenly the humble oat has been stripped of its healing gift. Seniors, more than anyone, must understand that even the purest foods can be undone when mixed with the wrong partners. It is not the oat that betrays us. It is what we carelessly invite into the bowl. I have lived long enough to learn that the smallest choices shape the longest journeys. The foods we pair together matter. The habits we repeat quietly build the health we carry or the sickness we bear. And so today, I want to share with you something simple but powerful. The 5 most common foods that, when mixed with oatmeal, can harm rather than heal. These are everyday things, often thought harmless, sometimes even advertised as healthy, but they weigh heavily on an aging body. Now, do not misunderstand me. My goal is not to frighten you away from the food you love. Oatmeal remains one of the best gifts you can give yourself each morning. My goal is to give you eyes to see clearly, so that your oats stay pure, gentle, and worthy of your years. Wisdom, after all, is not about rejecting what is good, but about knowing what corrupts it. So, imagine with me, tomorrow morning you sit at your table, steam rising from your bowl. Before you reach for the sugar jar, the juice carton, or the colorful dried fruit, I want my voice to echo in your mind. Ask yourself, will this addition lift me up, or will it weigh me down? Will it honor the body I've carried for 8 long decades, or will it make the climb harder? These are the questions of age. These are the choices of wisdom. Stay with me, and together we will uncover the 5 silent culprits. I will not just name them. I will show you why they hurt, how they sneak into our habits, and what to do instead. Because your life is precious, your mornings are sacred, and your body deserves the nourishment of truth. A simple bowl of oats can still be your ally, but only if you guard it well. Part 1. Oatmeal and sugar, the silent trap. My friend, let us begin with the most familiar jar on the table, the sugar bowl. For decades, it has sat there quietly, adding sweetness to coffee, tea, and oatmeal. A spoonful doesn't look like much, does it? Just a tiny heap of white crystals. Yet it is often that very spoonful that turns a healthy meal into a hidden danger, especially for us in the later seasons of life. When you stir sugar into oatmeal, the oats lose their very gift. Oats are meant to be steady, slow, and kind to your blood. They release energy gradually, helping you feel full and balanced. But sugar works against this. It rushes into the bloodstream like a storm, spiking blood sugar, forcing the body to scramble with insulin. For someone in their 80s, this is no small matter. The pancreas is tired, the heart already carries its years, and the sudden surge is like throwing gasoline on a gentle fire. You may not feel the damage right away. In fact, at first it feels pleasant. that quick sweetness, that tiny lift. But the fall comes soon after. Fatigue, hunger, irritability. And repeated every morning, it quietly builds into something larger. High sugar is one of the silent drivers of diabetes, inflammation, and heart trouble. At our age, it doesn't take much for the balance to tip. I've seen friends make this mistake. They believed a little sugar was harmless, but as the months went by, their energy weakened, their blood pressure rose, and their doctor began adding new prescriptions, all from small choices, repeated daily. The body, after all, is not a machine, but a memory keeper. It remembers what you do, good or bad. But here is the good news. You do not need sugar to enjoy oats. Nature has already given us sweet companions that are safe and healing. A few slices of apple, a sprinkle of cinnamon, even the natural sweetness of a ripe banana. These are not enemies, but allies. They carry fiber, vitamins, and life. They work with the oat, not against it. And when you taste them, you'll find the sweetness is gentler, lasting longer, and leaving no crash behind. My advice, born of long years and hard lessons: push the sugar jar a little further away. Let your oats remain what they were meant to be, slow, steady fuel for your morning, not a roller coaster for your blood. You will feel the difference not only in your body, but in your peace of mind, knowing that you are choosing wisdom each day. Part 2. Oatmeal and processed fruit juices, a sweet enemy. Now let us move to another common mistake: pouring or pairing oatmeal with processed fruit juice. It seems so innocent, doesn't it? After all, juice comes from fruit, and fruit is healthy. For years we were told that a glass of orange juice with breakfast was the picture of wellness. But for seniors, this is one of the quietest traps of all. Here is the truth. Most juices in cartons or bottles are not fruit anymore. They are stripped-down liquids, robbed of their fiber, filled with concentrated sugars, and often flavored with additives. Even the so-called 100% pure juices, though free of added chemicals, remain a flood of fructose without the balancing hand of fiber. What does this mean for us? It means that when you sip juice alongside your oatmeal, your blood sugar does not rise gently. It spikes sharply, as if someone cut the brake line. Why does this matter so much after 70 or 80? Because our bodies no longer process sugar with ease. The liver tires more quickly, the pancreas struggles to keep up, and the heart cannot afford the constant rush. Over time, this daily flood wears down our systems, raising risks of diabetes complications, weakening our immune defense, and even feeding inflammation in the joints. Have you noticed how some elders complain their knees ache more after sweet drinks? It is not the imagination. It is the body's cry for mercy. I remember one neighbor, a strong man well into his 80s. Each morning he poured a large glass of store-bought juice to go with his oatmeal, thinking he was doing himself good. But over the years, his doctor kept warning him about rising sugar levels, creeping fatigue, and restless sleep. When he finally replaced juice with fresh water and a few slices of real fruit, the change was almost immediate. His energy lifted, his sleep deepened, his spirit lightened. It was as if his body sighed in relief. The difference lies in the wholeness of fruit. When you eat an orange, an apple, or a handful of berries, you take in not only the sweetness, but the fiber, the minerals, the protection. They slow the release of sugar, ease digestion, and nourish the gut. Juice cannot do this. Juice is the shadow of the fruit, not its soul. So when you sit with your oatmeal, resist the carton. If you crave brightness in the morning, slice a real orange. Add the pieces on top of your oats. Crush a handful of blueberries. Even a spoonful of fresh grated pear or apple will transform the bowl into something alive. You will not only taste sweetness, you will taste life. And that is the wisdom here. Not everything labeled healthy is kind to the elderly body. True health is not in a label or an advertisement. It is in the simple wholeness of foods as God and nature gave them. Guard your oats from the flood of juice and let fresh fruit be your companion instead. Part 3. Oatmeal and flavored yogurts. Health in disguise. My friend, Let us now turn to something that often fools even the wisest among us. Flavored yogurt. You've seen it on the shelves, wrapped in bright colors, labeled with pictures of strawberries, peaches, blueberries. It promises health, energy, probiotics for the gut, and strength for the bones. For many seniors, a spoonful of flavored yogurt over oatmeal seems like the perfect addition, a creamy, fruity delight. But behind that sweet taste hides a danger that few talk about. The truth is this: flavored yogurts are often loaded with sugar, artificial colors, and additives that do far more harm than good. That little cup may contain as much sugar as a candy bar, yet it's disguised under the banner of health. For a young person, perhaps the body can burn through it. But for us, those of us who have carried decades of wear and tear, these hidden sugars place a burden on our hearts, our digestion, and our blood. Let me tell you why it matters so deeply. At our age, gut health becomes everything. A strong gut means better immunity, clearer thinking, and more energy. Plain, natural yogurt can indeed support that with probiotics, friendly bacteria that bring balance. But when you take that good and bury it under spoons of sugar, you undo the benefit. The bacteria struggle to survive in a sea of sweetness, and instead of balance, your body receives more chaos. I once knew a dear lady from church, always diligent about her diet. She believed in starting every morning with oats and a scoop of fruit yogurt. For years, she thought she was nourishing herself, yet she battled constant bloating, fatigue, and unsteady blood sugar. Only when her granddaughter suggested she switch to plain, unsweetened yogurt did the difference appear. Within weeks, her digestion eased, her sugar stabilized, and her energy returned. It wasn't the oats, and it wasn't the yogurt. It was the disguise of sweetness that had stolen her health. So what is the wiser choice? If you crave creaminess, choose plain yogurt. Add your own fruit, fresh berries, grated apple, or even a spoonful of unsweetened applesauce. Sprinkle cinnamon or nutmeg for flavor. This way, you control what enters your body. You bring back the true power of yogurt while keeping your oats clean and honest. Remember this: wisdom in eating comes from unmasking what the world disguises. Flavored yogurt looks like health, but for seniors it is a thief dressed in bright colors. Do not let your oats be robbed. Choose what is plain, what is whole, what is true. Your body will thank you in silence, with steadier mornings and stronger days. Part 4. Oatmeal and artificial creamers. The hidden chemical load. Now let us speak about something many of us use without a second thought. Creamers. Perhaps you've seen those powdered or liquid creamers sitting on the shelf, promising a rich taste without the fuss of milk. Some elders stir them into coffee, others into tea, and a few even into oatmeal to make it creamy. It seems convenient, almost harmless. But here lies another quiet danger that often goes unnoticed. Artificial creamers are not cream at all. They are mixtures of oils, chemicals, stabilizers, and often hydrogenated fats, the very trans fats doctors warn us about. These ingredients do not nourish, they burden. For an older body, they are like pebbles thrown into the gears of a delicate clock. Over time, they clog the arteries, strain the liver, and make digestion sluggish. What is advertised as smoothness becomes heaviness, both in body and in spirit. Why does this matter so much in the later years? Because the body no longer clears toxins with the ease of youth. The liver, once resilient, now needs protection. The heart, once strong, now needs lightness. Every artificial ingredient asks the body to work harder. But at 80, our strength is better spent on joy, on walking, on living, not on fighting off chemicals from a packet. I remember an old neighbor, a kind man, who loved his morning oats. To make them richer, he always poured in flavored creamer. It gave him sweetness and creaminess without the hassle of milk, he said. But over time, his cholesterol rose, his digestion slowed, and his doctor warned him to cut out the processed fats. He resisted at first, for he loved the taste, but when he finally switched to warm milk instead, he found not only better health, but a taste that was cleaner and more satisfying. Sometimes we forget how good simple food can be until we let go of the artificial. So what should we do instead? If you desire creaminess, use real milk, almond milk, or oat milk. A small splash of real cream, if your body tolerates it, is far better than a spoonful of chemicals. Even a mashed banana stirred into the oats brings creaminess and sweetness in one stroke, with no harm attached. And so the lesson is clear. Let your oatmeal be food, not a chemistry experiment. Your body has carried you through decades of storms and sunshine. It deserves real nourishment, not artificial imitations. Choose milk, choose fruit, choose nature. Push away the bottle of creamer. The difference may seem small, but over months and years it can mean lighter arteries, steadier energy, and more mornings to enjoy. Part 5. Oatmeal and excess dried fruits, when natural becomes too much. My friend, now we arrive at the final piece of this puzzle, dried fruits. On the surface, they seem like a blessing from nature. Raisins, dates, cranberries, apricots, all tiny jewels of sweetness that appear far healthier than candy. Many seniors sprinkle them generously over their oatmeal, thinking, how could something natural be harmful? But here is the hidden truth. Dried fruits are not the same as fresh fruits. When fruit is dried, the water is removed, but the sugar remains concentrated. What once took you 5 bites of an apple now sits in a single spoonful of raisins. The sweetness is intensified, the calories compressed, and the sugar hits your bloodstream much faster than fresh fruit ever would. Now for the young, perhaps the body can handle this surge, but for us, especially past 70 or 80, the body is slower to manage. The pancreas tires under the load, the blood sugar spikes higher, and the joints feel the sting of inflammation. Many elders wonder why their arthritis flares after sweet snacks. Too often, the culprit is hiding in those innocent-looking dried fruits. And let us not forget, many dried fruits on store shelves are not truly natural anymore. They are coated in syrup, dusted with sugar, or preserved with chemicals to extend shelf life. That handful of sweet cranberries may carry more added sugar than you realize. It is not just fruit you are eating. It is fruit wrapped in hidden burdens. I recall one dear friend who loved to toss handfuls of raisins into her morning oats. Better than candy, she would laugh. Yet her blood tests told another story. Rising sugar, creeping weight, restless nights. When her doctor asked her to replace raisins with fresh blueberries, she resisted at first. But soon she realized the difference. Her mornings were lighter, her energy steadier, her body calmer. She had discovered that too much of a good thing can become its opposite. The lesson here is not to ban dried fruits completely. They can still have their place. A few raisins, a single date, a sprinkle of apricot. These are fine in moderation. But the key word is moderation. Let them be an accent, not the foundation. Instead, turn to fresh fruit whenever you can. Fresh fruit carries not only sweetness, but water, fiber, and life. It works with your oats, slowing digestion, balancing sugar, and truly nourishing your body. So remember, my friend, even the gifts of nature can harm when taken without balance. Dried fruits are concentrated energy. Respect their strength, use them wisely, and your oats will remain the gentle ally they were meant to be. Conclusion. Returning to the simple bowl of wisdom. We have walked together through a quiet but important journey. We began with a bowl of oatmeal, a food as humble as the soil, as steady as the morning sun. Oats in their simplicity were given to us as a blessing, gentle on the stomach, kind to the heart, nourishing to the soul. But along the way, we discovered how easily that blessing can be stolen, not by the oats themselves, but by what we choose to mix with them. Sugar, fruit juices, flavored yogurts, artificial creamers, and excess dried fruits. 5 ordinary foods, so common in kitchens everywhere, yet so quietly dangerous when paired with oatmeal, especially for seniors. Each of them takes away a piece of what oatmeal was meant to give. Each of them adds weight where there should be lightness, confusion where there should be balance. And for bodies that have carried 8 or 9 decades of life, such weight is not easily borne. But the story does not end with warning. It ends with hope. Because the lesson is simple and the path is clear. Return to the honest bowl. Let oats be oats. Add what is real, what is fresh, what is whole. A handful of berries, a slice of apple, a sprinkle of cinnamon, a dash of milk. These are enough, more than enough. Life has taught us in so many ways that joy is not in the excess but in the simple. The smile of a grandchild, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of rain at night. These are treasures. In the same way, a plain bowl of oats can carry the strength of a feast if it is kept pure. So tomorrow morning, when you sit at your table and the steam rises from your bowl, I hope you will remember these words. Ask yourself, does this addition honor my body or does it burden it? And choose with wisdom, for every wise choice you make adds not only to your health, but to the days, the energy, and the peace you carry forward. My friend, may your mornings be gentle, your body light, and your years long. Guard your oats, guard your health, and let the wisdom of simplicity guide you always.